Blessings, Christian educators. Welcome to Words of Wisdom from the Classroom. Today in Camp Genius, I want to share with you some just words of wisdom that came from the mouths of babes, not exactly babes, but my Camp Genius students. I shared with them that there's nothing wrong with them. That's the first key in Kingdom education. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, I shared with them that teachers teach how they learn. And if you're my generation, and many of us have come out of the public education, and public education was formed after the Industrial Revolution to train up good, reliable employees, factory workers. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very honorable. But in a study that NASA did to try to find the creative geniuses, they took 1,600 4 and 5-year-olds, and out of 100%, and as I told my kids, if there were 100 kids standing in line, only 2 of them were not in the gifted range when they were born alive. Those same kids were tested when they were 10, and only 30 out of 100 were still in that gifted range. Somehow they had lost that creative genius. And by the time they were 15-year-olds, only 12 of them still had that creative genius. And the researchers were so discouraged, they didn't test those kids again when they're adults. They picked a group of 1 million, and only 2%, 2 out of 100, still have that creative genius. And so I came before them and I repented for every teacher, every neighbor, every parent, relative, or friend that spoke a lie over them, and shared with them that not every teacher is trained to teach the gifted brain. And the girls jumped right into talking about the uniqueness, the beauty, the specialness of a drop of water, a snowflake, a fingerprint. And they decided that they were going to ask God what kind of flower they were in God's garden of love. And as they were talking about the water, it reminded me of a post that I had seen on these ice flowers in the Arctic range, and how unique and how beautiful, and just like the snowflake, just like the fingerprint. And what's interesting is the conditions have to be just right, and then a speck of dust particle, a salt, a particle of salt will drop in, and it will instantly shoot up into these sheets of ice that form these beautiful flowers. And how much like us, that sometimes things don't go the way it's planned. Maybe there's some dust, there's some muck and mire from the world. How God can do that when we sit in His presence. How God can make us something beautiful, something unique, something to share His beauty with the world. And we talked about how in Camp Genius I teach them how to focus and pay attention and concentrate. And so I had them ask the Lord how they could learn more. And I was in awe of what the Lord spoke to them. He told the kids that that they learn heart, soul, and body. Told another girl that she learned by reading books and playing with her goats and listening to music. And another, many of the kids, in motion. And one girl was saying when she was washing windows, her teacher's like, "What? When you wash windows, It was being in motion. It was using all of her body, and that repetition kind of put her into that creative mode, and it helped her to focus and pay attention and process the things that she was learning. Playing basketball, physical activities, and one student says he's learned the most by actually interviewing for a job, going to work, and in fact, he's been there a year now, and he gets into this groove. He gets into this repetition, where he starts to think and process and focus and pay attention. One of the teachers had said, when she switches, that she's learned to switch up the activities, to do shorter instruction times, to change the instruction from visual to auditory to motor to adding crafts to it, to adding motion to it. And then as an educational therapist, I use the program's Brain Builder and Ear Builder. So this is Karen Marie Kosloske-Schoeben with words of wisdom from the classroom. I'm asking you to ask your students to ask the Lord and just sit in his presence and see what he teaches you and teaches the children about how they learn and how unique and how precious they are in his sight. My prayer for you is that you overflow with love from the throne above. May you splash in the overflow of perfect peace and the joy of the hopes that before.